Guys, what's going on? It's Ash here coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legends. Welcome to the video, guys. I am happy to have you here. Today, we're talking about, well, there's 3 new champions added to the game at the time of this recording. I am on the test server, but I've been playing around with these champions, all 3 of them actually, all day today. And I wanted to start with a guide on Kinagashi. Because she is a super compelling new champion added to the Shadowkin faction. Namely, she is the one and only and first reviver to be added to the faction, and revivers are going to be, crucial to getting some teams through faction wars, especially if you don't have all of the OP legendaries. So I will be showing you an epic only faction war team that is capable easily of clearing, with Kinagashi on the team, clearing stage 21 and beating the red boss. Having a reviver for that very hard-hitting red boss, not to mention getting your DPS through that second wave of Man-Eater and Dracomorph and Steel Skull. It's an annoying wave in that dungeon. But not just limited to faction wars. Kinagashi is a really cool champion who can help you guys out in a lot of different areas of the game. Even if you're not going for the fusion, I think you should definitely go for Kinagashi. So, on her A1, first of all, guys, I think 8 books total. 8 books total. In her 2 better abilities, her A2 and her revival, or A3, they're only cooldown levels. So this Plarium is what we like to see from our epic champions, or from any champion for that matter, right? You make the world a better place. On the A1, attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit has a 40% chance of decreasing the target's turn meter by 10%. Not bad. I like that turn meter control on the A1. On the A2, teams up with a random ally on a 3-turn cooldown to attack a single enemy. Also, fills the turn meter of all allies by 15%. So this is interesting. We get the turn meter boot. At first glance, you're like, okay, well, not too exciting, right? I mean, a ally attack champion who's also a reviver, that's kind of cool, but she's only got one ally, one random ally at that joining the attack. However, it's a really interesting and dynamic kit that we've never seen anything like this, right? It's having the team up, even with only one other ally, definitely gives her a little bit more potential on this ability. And then the turn meter is helpful to have anyway. So it's a very simplistic kit, right? We have turn meter fill of all allies on a 3-turn cooldown. We have turn meter control reduction of the enemy on the A1, and then we have a pretty decent revival as well. On a 4-turn cooldown, which is great for a single target, revives an ally with 50% HP, 50% turn meter, and the big version of increased defense on that ally for 2 turns. Again, on a 4-turn cooldown, not bad, and I love that her base stats are pretty solid, right? Her defense is not bad, over 1,000. Her HP is not bad, again, over 18k, and her speed is also slightly above average on all of her stats here on 105. So I'm a big fan of this champion. Again, is she, and I just want to be clear here, I'm not saying she's, a top 10 epic in the game or one of the best epics in the game, but she's a crucial epic who can help out, again, not just faction wars, but a lot of different areas of the game if you're looking for a pretty robust and solid reviver to add to your team. Really quickly here, guys, I'm sorry all of you who are watching in the future who don't care about the fusion, but I did want to go over the other 2 champions just really quickly. So Lambert is a rare champion. I mean, he's not that great, but he's not that bad compared to all the other rares they've added to the game recently. He has a chance of filling an ally's turn meter on his A1. On his A2, an AoE with a continuous heal on all allies on a 4-turn cooldown. This is a big version of continuous heal, so not a bad ability. And then he has a single target heal on a 5-turn cooldown with a revive on death. Not a game-changing champion or a game-changing ability. However, I will say, again, with speed in all battles by 10%, as a brand new player, if you have access to Lamiver, maybe you would pick him up and level him up to like level 40 or 50 or something like that. Again, not a trash rare, but certainly not one of the better rares in the game. And then the legendary champion, right? We get Helicath. He's a beast. I'm going to have a full guide on him coming up like tomorrow, I think. So I won't spend a lot of time going over his kit, but 2-time with a big version of Weaken. We have a great shield based on his defense on the A2 and on 3-turn cooldown. And then on the A3, we have block damage on a 4-turn cooldown for 2 turns. So definitely a lot of potential with him as well. One of the better fusions that we've had, in my opinion. What about you guys? Do you plan on going for him? Let me know how you're approaching this fusion in the comments below. So enough talking about it. Let's get to how I geared up Kinagashi. I hope I'm saying her name mildly in the right ballpark of pronunciation.
Never have, never will.
First of all, aesthetically, I mean, she looks pretty cool. I say this about every champion. I feel like I say, aesthetically, they look pretty cool. She's got the skulls because they do such a good job with these champions. I even like what she looks like, you know, from behind.
Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle.
I don't mean that in a weird way. I mean that when you're watching her in battle, right? Like, she's got pretty cool animations, and she looks awesome, right? Like a really cool samurai, reviver, warrior, whatever, right? She's very horny too. I mean, on her head, you know? So Masteries on this champion, guys. Listen, you can go support tree if you really need the accuracy, but think about it. She's not casting any buffs, and she's not casting any debuffs. So a lot of the support tree is totally useless. So for that reason, I would highly encourage you guys to consider going defense and offense. I went with a very, very basic build here, picking up War Master as my tier 6 option, and then going on the defensive tree, just picking up like Blast Proof, a little bit of protection from AoE attacks, Delay Death. I really love this mastery, and of course Retribution. Again, getting more turn meter, you know, depletion procs off of that A1. So that's the masteries that I went with on this champion. Again, support tree doesn't make a lot of sense on this champion. In my opinion, she's not healing. She's not, I mean, you can go get Lore of Steel, sure, maybe end with Spirit Haste, I guess. But I'd rather have defense, especially if you can get the accuracy from perception artifacts or accuracy artifacts that you need to land that decreased turn meter on the A1. So in terms of stat priorities on this champion, guys, I really went after speed. I could make her a lot faster. Obviously here on the, you know, the developer build, I could basically make her as fast as I wanted to, right? I could use all 6-star glyphs. But I tried to be kind of realistic with this build as well. We went 100% crit rate and 103% on crit damage. I am testing her out today in crit rate gauntlets to get a little bit extra oomph out of her A1 and her A2 ability, which is that ally attack, that single ally attack ability. Other than that, just building her hardy enough to be able to take a punch, right? She's our reviver. We ideally want her to stay alive, you know, as long as possible, longer than anybody else, so she can pick them back up, right? After that, defense, HP, and that's pretty much it, right? It is kind of weird that we only need accuracy for the A1, but, you know, I'd still rather have it than not to have it in her kit, right? So let's go ahead and try her out, guys. I want to start with the dungeon that, I mean, you can use her in really any dungeon, provided the affinity matchup, and I guess even if not, if you really don't care, if you can keep her alive, right? But I'm going to start out with Fire Knight 25 here, and we're going to go Fire Knight on this team. It's an all-epic team here, guys, with Stag Knight, Archmage Helmet, Allure, and Seer on the squad, and she's going to be able to support this team all on her own for the most part here. We don't really have any other, you know, healers slash support champions on this squad, but if we do lose somebody, she'll be able to pick them right back up. And again, we have Seer to help us kind of get through the waves and not take all day. And, you know, I think you'll be surprised how effective she can be against the Fire Knight. She does a 2-time hitter on her A1. She's that ally attack where if we're lucky, or even if we're not lucky, right? If you have a team with like Coldheart or Apothecary or, you know, all these multiple hitting A1 champions, Allure on the squad, well, you're going to be ally attacking on the A2 for another 2, 3, 4, 5 hits on top of the 2-hitter on the A1. So that's what makes her really useful as a Fire Knight reviver, especially if you're struggling with progression in Fire Knight, right? So I'm going to come back to you when we actually get to the Fire Knight, because I think you guys get the point in terms of what she's doing here on the waves. I will show you, though, the animations look pretty cool there on her attacks. Oh, we're already here at the Fire Knight. We're already here. And, like, you see what I'm saying? From behind, you can see her skulls kind of chilling there.
Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle.
It just doesn't sound right.
I don't know. I like it. I like it. Anyway, she's getting the extra turn because she is in Relentless gear. If you don't have Relentless, I like putting my revivers or my best support champions in Relentless gear if possible. But if you don't have Relentless gear or you want to look for a different artifact set, I mean, nothing wrong with just going, again, Perception to help get that accuracy and also getting some speed as well. Speed sets totally fine on this champion. Or, hey, Immortal if you want to try to just keep her alive. That's totally fine as well. So there's really like quite a few options for this champion. I prefer Relentless if you have the artifacts, if you have the extra Relentless gear lying around, certainly prefer that. But again, it's really, there's no wrong answer, I feel like, when it comes to artifact sets for this champion. So now that the shield is down on the Fire Knight, she's going to do a good job of helping us keep it down there. And you can see the War Master proc on her last A1. Really, really important, right, to have War Master. She can get some damage out of this champion. That's why I prefer going with that as my tier 6 option, right? Same thing on all of your revivers or all of your real support champions. You can get a couple hundred 100k damage just from the War Master against especially these longer dungeons or these more difficult bosses that all the DPS really helps, right? And of course, you know, Hydra and clan boss and regular clan boss. By the way, speaking of which, she's fine on both Hydra and clan boss as well. So definitely a very interesting champion. She's not a champion that I would say, you know, you're going to rely on a ton if you're an endgame player already. You probably have better options for revivers, and you probably don't need her for faction wars. So certainly if you're an end-to-end game player and you already have, you know, you're like, Ash, dude, we get it, man. She's your reviver, you know? Then yeah, sure, I would just go with her Helicath and not even think about her. However, I do know that my audience, the majority of you guys are still working on trying to get to level 25 dungeons, right? Trying to clear level 25 dungeons, at least the last time I polled you guys. So I think she'll definitely help you guys out. So Kinagashi, guys, puts out 585,000 damage. Not too bad at all there. And it was, you know, you can see how effective her A2 was with the ally attack and the A1 on the Fire Knight. All right, guys, so here in Faction Wars on stage 21 against the Red Boss, I have this team assembled here. Jinbo, the Dishonored. We have Hatatsu, Burengiri, and Aboro on the squad as well. I do have Hatatsu in Guardian gear, just as a note. The difficulty with the Faction Wars, as I was saying earlier, is that the second wave, very challenging. They have Basilisk, Steel Skull, Man-Eater, Dracomorph, and somebody I'm forgetting. Either way, it's a challenging kind of wave, and then the Red Boss hits like a truck. So having a reviver on the team is really, really handy. So guys, I'm going to come back to you when we get to the second wave, which is a little bit more challenging, and then we'll come back at the Red Boss. So we're still in the first wave here, guys, but we already lost Genbo, right? Like right away. So already having a reviver is coming in extremely handy on this team. I was tempted to add in Genzen as a debuffer to have on the squad to make things run a little bit faster, but I wanted to go all epic here for the sake of, you know, for the sake of the video. So I will be right back. So this is the second wave, guys, and it's actually Norog was the last champion that I was thinking of. So even more damage mitigation, even more of a tankier team overall. So let's see how this team can do. I think actually we'll be fine. So I'll come back at the more exciting conclusion of the video against the Red Boss. All right, guys, here we go. Starting with the extra turn right away. Again, you can see the decreased turn meter off the A1. Nice to have. And let's see how this team does here. Again, she hits hard, and she might actually be targeting, who knows, with the HP. Okay, I'm glad she was not targeting our reviver there. I wasn't exactly sure where everybody kind of stacked up. So, even if we lose Genbo, totally fine, right? Again, we'll revive him right away, and we'll be right back in business. We have a Boro anyway to help out there. We get another extra turn off the Relentless. This is why I love Relentless, right? And keep in mind, every time we ally attack, it's not just ally attack, it's fill the turn meter of all allies by 15%. So again, we lose Genbo. What the heck is it? I always say Genbo, but then I heard somebody say Genbo. So now I'm questioning myself. And again, right back to another revival. I love it. And he's dead again. Who cares? The whole team would have been wiped by now, right? If we hadn't kept picking him up just to die, to be our sacrificial lamb here against the Red Boss. But you guys can see we're already almost done here. And yeah, I mean, not too bad, right? Not a very, you know, OP, no legendaries on the team. Granted, you know, the idea that you guys would have all of these epic champions is probably unlikely. However, I'm sure you do have a legendary or two that you can sub in, and the good thing is besides Kinagashi, any of these positions can be subbed in or out. I would say the most important is probably Hatatsu, because he does have the defensive aura and the increased defense and continuous heal, so he is a big part of the support on this team. But overall, really happy with this champion. I really do think that she can help out a lot of you guys watching. That's why I wanted to start again with a guide on her and have that already here. That way it can kind of flag with you guys that, hey, even if you're not going, or especially if you're not going for the fusion, you should definitely consider going for Kinagashi. Thanks for watching, guys, and as always, take care, guys.